Now, the next speaker is the Commissioner Malmstrom. You have the floor.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, honourable ladies and gentlemen members. First of all, I would like to extend my deepest sympathy to the Canadian people for the terror attack they suffered 2 weeks ago. Je suis Québécois, nous sommes tous Québécois. With Canada, we share the democratic values of openness and tolerance. We cooperate in tackling common challenges such as migration, sustainable development, climate change and terrorism. The two agreements that we are discussing here today, the Free Trade Agreement, CETA, and the Strategic Partnership Agreement, together offer an opportunity to upgrade our EU-Canada relationship. Those agreements strengthen both our economic relations and our geopolitical alliance, reflecting our partnership, both unique and distinctive, making that partnership deeper and more powerful, reaffirming our fundamental values, political principles, and using them to shape globalization, with an institutional framework that allows for deeper exchange, to help each side serve its citizens in the 21st century. CETA will benefit EU citizens and business. Exports to Canada today support around 900,000 European jobs. But the 70,000, a little bit more, EU companies who export to Canada face many obstacles. These obstacles are particularly burdensome for the small and medium-sized companies, which are about 80% of the total. And CETA helps those companies in many ways. It removes almost all tariffs from day one. Exporters stand to save over 500 million a year. That's a lot of money, especially for the small companies. It also cuts red tape, the lengthy customs and duplicative certification procedures with which small businesses can ill afford. It opens up markets in services and public procurements on all levels. And it protects over 140 of the most traded geographical indications, helping European farmers sell more of their high-quality products in Canada. Trade policy is about opening markets, but it is also about our values. So CETA is a progressive agreement with a progressive partner, upholding our standards, protecting our sensitivities. Nothing in this agreement undermines a government's right to regulate in the public interest. Nothing in this agreement affects the safety of food we eat or the products we buy. Nothing prevents governments from providing public services or bringing these services back to the public domain if they have been privatised. Nothing requires privatisation of water or healthcare. And nothing changes the prerogative of EU lawmakers to set EU rules under EU procedures. In particular, decision-making in the CETA Joint Committee cannot circumvent or derogate from EU treaty requirements, in particular the role of EU institutions in making policy. CETA will not change food safety standards or any other EU requirements. Only the EU institutions can do that, and member states may also be adopting relevant legislation for that. The Commission will fully abide by EU internal processes as defined by the treaties before taking any position in the CETA committee, and there can be no doubt that the role of this Parliament will be both fully respected and your contribution also welcomed. I know this Parliament has concerned and had concern about the private ad hoc arbitration known as the Investor State Dispute Resolution, ISDS. So we have reformed it. And your role here has been critical in shaping the new investment court system. This new system guarantees government's right to regulate. It uses public courts, qualified judges, transparent proceedings, an appeal mechanism and a strict code of ethics. And this Parliament will be involved in selecting its tribunal members, similar to its involvement for ECJ judges. And as you know, with Canada, we are right now working on the international scene to promote the idea of a multilateral investment court. CETA is a modern, new kind of agreement, promoting our values of free, fair and sustainable trade. Canada and EU pledges to effectively implement major international agreements on labour and environment. These provisions are ambitious, but they are also binding and legally enforceable. And they are having an effect. Canada is on the path to ratify the last outstanding core labour convention on collective bargaining. The agreement contains a mechanism to review these provisions, notably on enforcement, and I commit, as I have written to you in letters, to set in motion this review mechanism soon after CETA is provisionally applied. And to feed into this review, I intend to open a broad and inclusive debate on sustainable development provisions in our free trade agreements, involving all stakeholders, including, of course, this Parliament. The Strategic Partnership Agreement accompanies and complements CETA, reinforcing our partnership, deepening contacts and coordination in areas like foreign security and defence policy, migration, counter-terrorism, human rights, sustainable development, climate change, areas where we can work, and we are already working together, to make life better for our citizens and promote a progressive international agenda rooted in our principles. Honourable members, we are at a time where many stand against what the EU stands for: openness, international cooperation, freedom to trade, etc. And those who oppose those principles often also question the foundation and the future of the EU itself. And against those trends, we have the chance to work with like-minded partners to show that protectionism does not work. Putting up barriers, building walls is not the answer, but good, efficient, fair trade agreements with like-minded partners, that is the answer. And this is the opportunity we have today by consenting to the two agreements. And I would like to end by thanking so much the rapporteur, Mr. Pabriks, and of course Mr. Tannock on the Strategic Partnership Agreement, and the shadows and many more who have worked during this long time for this agreement. I am looking forward to the debate and hopefully a successful vote. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Malmstrom. The next speaker is Mr. Tannock. Another time for only 1 minute, please.
1 minute? I thought I had 2 minutes. 1 minute? Okay. Well, as I've already mentioned, the SPA will have an important role with the security